Tilecast. News, features and analysis brought to you by Diary of a Tile Addict. So today we're going to speak to Joe Simpson about his recent visit to the 2023 Surface Design Show at Islington's Business Design Centre. Joe, you've obviously been to this for a few years running. Anything different this year?
I think the main thing for me this year that was different was the number of companies that were doing either Venetian plaster or micro cement or variations on a theme, and also the number of... I normally go there thinking I'm going to see, obviously, that there'll be the textile-based things, but the rest of it was going to be hard surfaces. But this time you were seeing hard surfaces, but actually when you dug deeper, what people were selling were liquid applied hard surfaces and the contracting that goes with them.
So are these things you've never seen before? Anything new?
There were some brand new things. I'm not saying I've never seen them before, but there were some significant developments on common themes. I mean, obviously Venetian plaster has been around for centuries, literally, but it comes and goes in terms of fashion, and how it's being used now, I would say, is quite different than how it was when I first came to it, where it was very much a surface finish, continuous surface finish that was very good for going around curved architectural objects. Well, now it is very much more being seen as a statement finish in its own right, used as a feature wall, and equally it's going from, it used to be pretty much the province of commercial buildings, and now you're seeing it, they're definitely pitching at high-end domestic architecture.
And so, was there much tile there?
I suppose, sadly, there was less tile than normal. I mean, there are the people like Saloni and Greztec who've got their own showrooms at the Business Design Centre and who always make a great show at it. But really, the main tile element was coming from Tile of Spain. ASER, the trade association, had a booth there which featured 8 factories, and they were the main tile offer. Thankfully, they were really good selection. So we had Civica, Dune, Peronda, Saloni, Monopole, El Barco and Vives, to name just a few, plus smaller people like Adex who specialise in little designs. So a good range of companies showing everything from very small handmade, hand-decorated ceramics right through to large porcelain slabs. So yeah, it's some interesting tiles, but it was not a major feature.
Why do you think that is? Why weren't there many tile people there?
I think there are probably two things. One of the things has been the impact of the energy crisis, which has caused a lot of problems for the tile industry, and I suspect people are paring back. Secondly, it's very close to the big Spanish show, and so there are people who are probably keeping their powder dry for that. And thirdly, I think some of the people who would normally support it, which would be some of the London-based specialist tile distributors, have really now started to put a lot of their effort behind Clerkenwell Design Week. And I think, doing 2 big shows in London within a 6-month period is just probably too much for people.
So what is the appeal of the show then?
Well, the thing I love about it, it's a great venue. And it's a great venue because it's intrinsically a lovely building. It's in a very good location, particularly if if you want to appeal to architects, because Islington, they're all around there. But the main thing is it's quite small. And so people have to have quite small stands. And if you've got a small stand, you've got to be selective about what you show. And for me, the best thing is you go on a stand and they've got their 3 best new designs, rather than 500 things you have to wade through to get to the thing that's really interesting. Plus, you get the stands are generally manned by the people who either design the products or the companies, the entrepreneur behind the company. So it's not a sales-led thing. It's very much more about design, the conversation, and making new contacts.
So an eclectic mix. Is it big enough to see some trends?
There were certainly trends there. Whether they are representative of the greater world out there, I don't actually think matters. It's, can you go to one building and see 400 fantastic products? The answer was simply yes, you could. And it didn't really matter what you wanted to see, whether you wanted to look at a really nice new wallpaper, a new woven fabric, something handmade by a real craftsman, or some quite big brands who are just showing you what's cutting edge and new to them. So there were some people there, massive suppliers of kitchen door fronts to the likes of Howdens, who were showing the really high-end decorative finishes, and they are staggering. So there were some very good sustainability messages out there as well. That was a good theme you were seeing through it. But if I had to pick out some design themes, metallics. There was a lot of metallic finishes, and very, very beautiful metallic finishes. Ones that are not just about the sheen and patina, but about pitting and aging and that sort of thing. So that was the theme. The colours, there was quite a lot of interesting colours, and you could see some of the key themes you've seen at tile shows there. So the organic mushroomy kind of colours, much in evidence. The special accents, the oranges, the deep blues, the greens, the jades were there. And there were the kind of metallics, not the blingy ones, not bright golds or whatever, but much more kind of careworn industrial kind of metallic finishes. So there was a lot of visual and tactile working together.
So to round up then, pick your two favourite exhibitors.
Right. Well, the great thing about this show is that, yes, you get to see all these commercial companies, but you also get to see students and people who are very much starting out in their careers or have got an idea which they're bringing to a commercial audience for the first time.
Okay, two students first then.
Okay, two students really caught my attention. One was Magnus Nielsen, who's a recent graduate in architecture from Denmark, who's really big into regenerative design. His project used Moroccan clay as a carbon capture. He'd created a prototype facade system which he had tested in Marrakesh, using this clay to bind with CO2 and then release it when the temperature rises. And he was then using it to grow tomatoes below. I mean, this is not something that you're going to be able to buy in the shops anytime soon, but it was a really interesting visual representation of this kind of thinking and a great conversation starter about ecological design. The other person who really caught my eye was Libby Challoner, who's a sustainable product design BA from Falmouth University. She's been working on making a sustainable and biodegradable biopolymer using something that's very available in the Falmouth area, seaweed, specifically agarophytes. What I loved about her idea was the way she has been living with this product, experimenting with it, seeing how it colours naturally, and then using it as a plastic substitute. She was making COVID testing kits out of it, which was a strange thing. It obviously caught your eye when you're looking at a surface material thing, but you suddenly realise what a tremendous potential this product has, because seaweed is such a plentiful material all around the world, and if you can take out elements and work with them like this, huge potential. But there were a lot of other really interesting students there. Fortunately, I mean, I could only concentrate really on the hard surfaces, but there was some great textile work there, some beautiful weaving, some lovely fabrics, some natural dyes, and again, sustainability was one of the key features.
And your favourites from the more established companies? Right,
well, if I'll just pick five, I mean, there were plenty, but I'll concentrate on five. The first thing to say was, as ever, there was an area curated by Sally Ann Harrod, which had a mixture of different surfaces together, and that, as ever, had some very interesting products in it from both large companies and small artisanal producers. But my top five were Innometal. James Ellis was showing some liquid metal finishes which have basically a resin base and up to 95% metallic content that cures to form an authentic cast metal look, And he had these in a really wide range of metals: aluminium, bronze, steel, iron. And what I really loved about them was the surface luster and the patina. You really can't believe you're not looking at something that's actually made out of real metal, but it's very adaptable. Perhaps the most surprising thing of all was from Marmox, which they were calling sliced stone, 3 to 4 mil thick, basically an Indian sedimentary stone, shaved, put onto a backer, treated with polycarbonate, and basically you could roll it up like a roll of wallpaper. I did it several times, and each time I couldn't believe that the stone was not going to crack and fall into pieces in my hands, but it didn't. And then you start to think of where could you use this, and really it's got a tremendous range of applications, everything from furniture to shower enclosures. I think it's a product with huge legs, and it's quite surprising it's been around for a few years and nobody really seems to have heard of it. As I say, there were a lot of Venetian plaster and micro cement companies there. It's probably a bit unfair to pick one out, but I will do, which was Marta Varello, she has a fantastic, vibrant, creative stand, which was just showing the creative freedom that you can achieve with some of these surface finishes. Lots of different colours, textures, and it was basically like stepping into a really upmarket nightclub. That's the effect it had on me. And then at the other end, maybe Respet, which is a material that uses recycled PET drinks bottles. Again, from Italy, they were saying that they had now done their 2 billionth PET bottle recycled in this way, and they make a surface coating that you think that's not going to sound very good, but in fact the detail on it, the colours, the patina, very impressive, and clearly something that commercial clients could use to create bespoke interiors with very little effort. So yeah, a really good show, and a lot of evidence that the creative industries and manufacturers are in rude health.
Well, that seems like a fairly comprehensive roundup of the show, Joe. Thanks for that. How can listeners find out more about some of the things and companies you've been mentioning?
Yeah, that's a good point. I will be writing about some of these products in great detail, but I'll provide all of the contact names of the ones that we've mentioned in this podcast on diaryofatailaddict.com, and also put up a section of images so you can see what I was talking about. And then if you want to get in touch, follow the links on the website. Happy to answer questions. Until the next show, bye-bye.
You've been listening to Tilecast, produced by Diary of a Tile Addict. To ensure you don't miss any future episodes, don't forget to follow us. You can also find show notes and receive updates on news feeds, articles, podcasts and videos direct to your inbox by subscribing to the diaryofatailaddict.com website. Get the inside track at Diary of a Tile Addict.